Hello and welcome back to Skyrim A through Z mods, lore, and more. I am, as always, Inquisitor Aura, and I will be your guide through the lore-rich world of Nirn. And this week, we're going to be taking, in conjunction with the, going on with the races before I move on to anything else, we're going to be taking a look at the Redguards. Now, the Redguards aren't originally from Tamriel. In fact, the Redguards have no known ties to the Etmorans, which are the Neds, who are the dominant humanoid races on Tamriel. The Redguard are originally from the Yakuta Islands, which was an island archipelago far to the west of Tamriel, and they were also known as the Yakutans. The Redguard are amongst some of the best and fiercest warriors in Tamriel, known, of course, across the continent for their usage of curved swords. If the guards in Skyrim haven't told you that enough times, I'm not sure where else you might have heard that. The Redguard are universally dark-skinned people with a significant reddish tint and typically run towards dark-haired, although their eye color does have a varying range. And their name is derived from a corruption of their native tongue, Ragada, which means warrior wave, and from the result of the wars that eventually destroyed their home. Their original home was the Yakuta Islands. Once again, I said, large archipelago of islands far to the west of Tamriel, which sank into the ocean in the First Era, year 792. Now, the reason it sank is attributed to two possible reasons. One was the revenge of the Ansei. Now, the Ansei were sword singers, or saints of the sword, an elitist warrior class of the Yakutans. During the War of the Singers, which was a series of 7 battles that took place across Yakuta in the First Era, year 780, and the other reason being a series of natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, things of that nature, which is believed to be a direct effect of the War of the Singers. Now, the Ansei, again, a group of expert warriors who could create magical blades using their own souls. So basically, they would generate the sword in their hands. The men were called the Brothers of the Blade, and the women were called the Sisters of the Spirit Sword. They were trained in the arts of the Shihai Shenseiru, or the Way of the Spirit Sword. And the downfall of Yakuta was believed to be brought about by a specific group of Ansei called the Hiradirge, who were vastly outnumbered. The then Emperor of Yakuta, Hira, hence Hiradirge, fought against the Hiradirge and their leader, Frandar Hunding. Hunding was the greatest of the Ansei, and chosen to be their leader for that purpose. Hundig led the Ansei to victory using the hammer and anvil strategy, which there is very little detail of, but it was at great cost. More than 300,000 Yakutan citizens were killed in this battle, and the Ansei were forever seen as bloodstained from that point. This ultimately is what led to the destruction of the Yakutan Islands, and this is why they sailed across the Eltharic Ocean and took on new names commemorating their final battle. Their new home would be Hammerfell, and they would forever be known as Redguards. Now, as for their history, the Redguards actually, they do pretty much keep to themselves. They sailed from Yakuta at the end of the First Era and landed on the island of Hern, which is a smallish island, which is just off the coast of Hammerfell. The Regatta, who are a splinter group almost, traveled to the mainland and began assaulting the inhabitants, which at that time were the Nedic humans and the Altmer, who dwelled there. Eventually, the Yakutan royalty, the Na Totambu, left Hern after the Regatta had driven everybody out of Hammerfell. In the Second Era, Redguard society split into 2 factions. The first faction was called the Crowns, and followed Na Totambu and strove to hold on to traditional Yakutan culture. The second faction was called the Forebears, and they were the descendants of the Ragada who wished to assimilate into Tamriel for commercial and political reasons. So the crowns wanted to be autonomous, they wanted to be left alone, they didn't want to trade with anyone, they wanted to be a very secluded nation. And the Forebears wanted to go out into Tamriel and forge alliances and become part of the people who were already starting to thrive there. This sparked a civil war during the interregnum. In the Second Era, year 846, the civil war had gotten so bad and the Redguards had been so weakened that when Tiber Septim was conquering Tamriel, he had no problem conquering Hammerfell because they were already divided. So all he had to do was sweep in and have fun with all of that. And then also in the events of Elder Scrolls Online, the Redguard joined the Daggerfall Covenant with the Orcs and the Bretons. Now, they are very good with the Bretons, but they're not on such great terms with the Orcs. In the Third Era, was the only notable thing that the Redguards had taken into account, had done anything with, was the Camoran usurper. And in the Fourth Era, of course, it was the Great War. They did not give in to the terms of the White Gold Concordat and continued to fight long after the Empire had given up. Eventually, they threw the Thalmor forces out of Hammerfell, and through the Second Treaty of Strauss-Mackay, managed to keep them out, and then they promptly seceded from the Empire, stating that if the Empire had just continued to fight, then they would have eventually succeeded, which obviously is not the imperial viewpoint on the Great War itself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our quest now, and I'm going to go with the only real Redguard quest that I managed to find, which was In My Time of Need. Okay, In My Time of Need. If you haven't been through this quest already, you get this shortly after you kill the dragon out at the Western Watchtower, and you're going to walk into the town, and you're going to see a couple of Redguard men who are, pretty much harassing another Redguard woman. You're going to listen to the whole conversation, and then they're going to initiate a conversation with you, stating that they are looking for a Redguard woman in the city, and they want her brought to them, but they are not welcome in Whiterun, so they'll be in Rorikstead. So you just go ahead, you can look around, but the woman you're looking for is right here. This is Sadia. And you're just going to go up and you're going to talk to her. You're going to initiate the conversation, and once she realizes that she's been found, she's going to tell you to follow her up the stairs. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to follow her because, she's obviously frightened. You have the option of not... This quest is a little bit different because you have the option of going right to the Alakir in Rorikstead and telling them where she is. But I chose to do it this way because, honestly, this gives you more of the interaction. You can follow her up the stairs. She's going to take you into a room, and then she's going to pull a knife. And she's going to threaten to cut you, basically. She said, I will cut you. She's going to tell you she doesn't want to be taken back. And then she's going to tell you her story. Now, her story is that she is a runaway from Hammerfell, and that she's wanted because she publicly spoke out against the Aldmeri Dominion. And at this point, you have to make a choice. You can either help her, or you can go tell the Alakir in Rorikstead where she is. I chose to help her in this particular playthrough. Now, she claims that she's actually a noble, and the Alakir are assassins that have been sent after her. Whether or not you choose to believe that is entirely up to you, but do keep in mind, from a lore standpoint, the Redguard and the Aldmeri Dominion don't get along. Okay, so the Redguards, the Alakir, more likely than not, have not been sent because she spoke out against the Aldmeri Dominion, but for another reason. So you'll talk to her, you'll finish up the conversations, you can ask her a bunch of different questions, and then she's going to send you to a place called Swindler's Den. It is a cave, and it is west of Whiterun. But before you do that, she's going to ask you to get some information from a prisoner, an Alakir who was caught sneaking into Whiterun. Now, of course, we all know the Nords. We all know they are not exactly the most racially forgiving group of people. So when they see a foreigner, and any of the guards, if you wander around, will tell you, will be like, oh, you know, it's bad enough that we have these Argonians running around, but now we have mercenaries from Hammerfell as well. And they'll tell you they're not exactly too happy about that. But she's going to tell you that they have an Alakir warrior captured in the dungeon. I forgot the word there. In the dungeon of Dragon's Reach. And you can go down there and you can talk to him, and you can find out from him where the person who was hired to, quote-unquote, assassinate Sadia is hiding. And you go down to the prison, and you talk to the Alakir prisoner, and he tells you he's not going to tell you anything until you buy his way out of prison. Now, all you have to do is give the guard 100 gold. It's really easy. It's not hard to get 100 gold in the game, and honestly, by the time you're doing this, you should have a fair amount of money from whatever you've done so far. Even if you've only done Bleak Falls Barrow and ran to Whiterun and then fought the dragon, you should still have 100 gold. So you can still pay off the guard. Alternately, if your sneak skill is high enough and your lock picking skill is high enough, you can actually pick the lock and let him out, and he will still give you the information. But in this playthrough, I had the money. It was just easier to pay off the guard to let him go and get the information that I want. Now, the Alakir prisoner is going to tell you that you're looking for a man named Kimatu. Kimatu is the leader of the Alakir who were sent here to retrieve Sadia, and that he is in Swindler's Den. It's not far. Fast travel to it, no problem. And that's where you're going to find him, so that you can either talk to him or you can kill him. And entirely up to you. There are several different ways to actually complete this quest. You can kill Kimatu and help Sadia. You can help the Alakir. It is entirely up to you. See, there's Swindler's Den. See, it's not that far. It's south of Randvig's Fast, Jilker's Monument, whatever. You're going to get into Swindler's Den, and you're going to find it's full of bandits. Okay, so you're pretty much going to have to fight your way through the entire dungeon, which admittedly is not actually all that long, but watch out because these bandits are leveled, and they will have some pretty nasty spellcasters who will lob fireballs at you, and they explode and they hurt, and it killed me several times when I was trying to do this, which is why this video may look a little spliced together. Fireballs, no, bad. So, kill your way through here. You pretty much, it's a maze. It's like every other Skyrim dungeon. You're going to have to just keep on killing until you get all the way to the top. Of course, don't forget to loot the bodies, and look out, because there are some chests in here that you will have to dig around to find, and it will have leveled gear in it for you. So, potions and some pretty good armor, if I'm not mistaken, and some nice weapons. So, keep on killing, keep on killing, keep on killing. And that person had a tricorn on because I have an awesome mod for that. Okay, so you're going to come through here and you're going to go through this tunnel. Like I said, it's kind of maze-like, but you're going to end up going through a waterfall at this point and running up here, and this is where the Alakir are. Okay, they've been hiding up in here, and none of these guys are going to attack you. But you have your options. Now, you can either kill Kimatu or you can talk to him. I almost always will choose the option that gives me the most RP reasons to do anything. So, I chose to talk to Kimatu. Now, Kimatu will tell you that Sadia is indeed a noble from Hammerfell, but the reason that they sent the nobility, if Sentinel had sent them to bring her back, is because she sold Hammerfell out to the Aldmeri Dominion. So she gave them vital information that would have helped them gain a foothold in Hammerfell. Once again, this goes hand in hand with that whole the Redguard don't like the Aldmeri Dominion, and they've already thrown them out of Hammerfell at this point, and they definitely don't want them in there. So anybody who would be a traitor to that is going to be frowned upon. So when they ask you what you think they are, and you tell them that you think they're assassins, they're going to laugh in your face. They're like, look, we're not here to assassinate her. We're here to take her back to Hammerfell so she can face, prison, face her trial, which ultimately they lead you to believe is going to lead you to her execution. You talk to them. You can't kill him, and you can't fight all these dudes. But there are a lot of dudes in here. There are like 6 other guys in here besides him, and you're going to have to fight them all at once. If you do decide to just kill Kamatu outright, and these guys start attacking you, a mayhem spell, if you have it, is great because it turns them all against each other. You can also, if you're playing the sneaky archer type, if you finish the conversation, you can talk to him all you want, that's fine. You can actually kill him from a distance. If you sneak down, there's a doorway on the opposite side which is going to lead you out back to Skyrim, right here, and you can actually crouch down and snipe him, and then escape that way. And once again, that's entirely up to you. So this is your exit out. You're going to come up here, and you're going to drop down and then just go right back out the way you came. And I agreed to help Kamatu because, frankly, the first time I did this quest, Sadia's story sounded a little contrived to me, and I was like, no, I don't like that. If you decide to help Kamatu, he's going to tell you that you need to go back to Whiterun, and since Sadia trusts you to a point, you need to convince her that she needs to flee. You need to tell her that they know you're here, or you were unable to defeat them, and they're coming for her, and then lead her out of the city so that the guards can't interfere, and take her down to the Whiterun stables where you have a horse waiting for her to take her where she's safe. Now, she's going to complain. She's going to be like, I have to pack up and leave again. Oh my god, why is this happening to me? I don't understand. But in the end, she is going to get up and she's going to run out there. Now, you can run ahead of her. It doesn't make a difference. You can follow behind her. I chose to follow behind her because sometimes she can bug out and get stuck somewhere. And it is just my way of keeping tabs on her. And as you can see, she's kind of slow sometimes. You're going to run her down to the Whiterun stables. And then when she gets around the corner, you're going to see Kamatu, and she's going to turn around and look at you, and she's going to be like, I trusted you. What's going on? I can't believe you did this to me. And you're going to be like, I don't care. And Kamatu's like, you're going back to Hammerfell because you're a traitor, and you need to face your trial, and your luck is going to run out eventually, and then he's going to paralyze her. And that's it. That's the end of the quest. He's going to give you part of the bounty money that they had out on her, and he's going to take her back to Hammerfell, where eventually she will probably just be executed because the Aldmeri Dominion is bad and the Redguard don't like them, and that makes the most sense to me. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and we'll switch to our mod. We're going to be talking about the Redguard Knight Armor, so stay tuned. Alright, so for our mod, I've decided to go with Redguard Knight Armor by Hoth Trooper 44. Once again, I will have the link in the description below. And anybody who really does a lot of work on the Nexus, or mods a lot from the Nexus, is going to recognize the name Hoth Trooper 44 because he does a lot of armor and weapon mods that are absolutely fantastic. Now, the Redguards obviously hail from another land. It's dry, it's deserty, it's sand, it gets everywhere, it gets in your boots, gets in your face, gets in your hair, and so they have a different style of armor to compensate for their chosen homeland. The Redguard Knight Armor is very much that Arabic style armor, with the head wrappings and, just, it to keep everything out. And this mod is a fantastic mod for anybody who actually does the RP thing with the Redguards. Because as you can see right here, it's on a female character for me, and it does look bulky on a female character. If you're okay with that, that's cool. This is actually the heavy set. I don't know if the lighter set's going to look any different, but it doesn't really bother me that it looks all that bulky, because I imagine there's a lot of padding underneath there to keep out a lot of the heat and a lot of the sun, and of course, all of the sand, because you want sand underneath your chainmail. I mean, chainmail's already uncomfortable. Sand's just going to make it worse. Okay, so to make this set, you're going to go to the steel area, and everything, both sets, both the light and the heavy, are going to be here, and the models for the light and the heavy are exactly the same. Like I said, I'm not sure if the light armor has the same bulk as the heavy does, but they're both going to be under steel, and both of them are going to require this same amount of material. So leather strips, and steel ingots, or iron ingots. So nothing crazy, which is phenomenal. Okay, and it does have the scimitars as well. Now, keep in mind that it is craftable. This is all craftable. This is all upgradable. The cape for the set is found in miscellaneous, and all it requires is a little bit of leather. No problem. The armor is scaled to be near Dragonbone armor in value and weight, so I wouldn't necessarily call it game breaking, but this is definitely something you're probably... It's great for early game, if that's what you want to do, but I would save it probably for a little bit later. The scimitar is the equivalent of a Daedric sword. These items are powerful, but well within the bounds for the intended game, and you won't outgrow the item stats, so that's good. Phenomenal armor set. Good job, Hoth Trooper 44. We appreciate it. That's it for this week. Come back next week, where I'll be talking about the Nords. Have a great week, and I will see you then.